Whenever I've gotten third, I've always felt like double the emotion of disappointment. It's kind of weird because usually disappointment is just like something you can kind of scratch off your shoulders and the next day go back to work like nothing ever happened. But whenever I've gotten third, I've always felt like it's kind of been haunting me for a very, very long time, and it's been hard to shake off. So I've, in a way, actually like gotten a bit scared of playing third place games or like losing semifinals, because I feel like it just puts you in a worse spot than if you were to just go home, not play a third place game. But once you're on the big stage, you're kind of smelling playing the finals and playing that big game that really means something, and instead you're just playing the warm-up game the day before. It just feels really, really terrible.
Well, emotional words from Fnatic. Welcome back, everyone, or from Rekkles, rather, as Fnatic is up 2-0 in this semifinal versus Vitality. So luckily for Rekkles, that is going quite well. And we wanted to take the opportunity, excuse me?
Rather well, yes.
It was so English too, rather well. In any case, we did want to take this opportunity to take a look at Rekkles and Caps, and actually at the double threat that Fnatic has been running throughout the split, which has made them show up here in the semifinal so far. If we look back at the split, though, it was Rekkles and Caps we were looking at. And first up, Caps really stole the spotlight in the beginning of the split as Fnatic was trying to find their synergy.
Yes, he certainly did. Caps was the individual who kind of put all the weight on his shoulders at the beginning, because Fnatic, they struggled, to be totally honest with you. Like, they didn't find their form, they weren't good as a team, and you relied on this playmaker to kind of make those plays in order to find the wins for Fnatic. And he made a lot of them. He made a lot of great plays in the early game, and he brought a lot of successful wins in favor of Fnatic. And initially we thought, oh, the team is now revolving around this carry. This is the guy that everyone is relying on. And that kind of evolved as the split progressed.
Yeah, and this was not a period in which Fnatic was deemed super dominant. That came later. That came when the team found their synergy, and when Rekkles in the bottom lane, he developed a better synergy with his new support, Hylissang. And as that progressed, Rekkles really worked his way up to kind of being that legacy AD carry player, and that's shown throughout the second half of the split for Fnatic.
Exactly that, and I feel like he's been playing with so much confidence as well. The plays he's willing to make, the gambles he's willing to take as well, and the fact that he just trusts his team more, that he doesn't shoulder the same responsibilities, it's just spread out across, and it's nice to see this development from last split to this split of Fnatic.
So that was the story of the split, Caps and Rekkles showing up for Fnatic, which brought them to the semifinal spot. But now I want to focus in on how they've done in this series so far, because I think for the side of Caps, he has definitely been a big carry in the first two games here versus Vitality, bringing out the Zoe in game 1 and then crushing it with Swain in game 2, up versus that rookie of the split, Jiizuké.
I completely agree with you, and the reality is, yes, if you put Caps on a carry, he can in fact carry. He's been having a fantastic job overall, and I feel like the Rekkles, he's just been able to do his job. You know, you look at him and the fact that he's just kind of fitting into his role. He's played Ezreal twice now. He hasn't had to be super lane dominant. We haven't expected him to be the big carry, and the rest of his team has just been stepping up to allow him to do what he needs to.
To me, it's a bit reminiscent of yesterday, G2 and Perkz, because we were looking at Perkz, but it ended up not being Perkz that had to really do too much beside his job, and I feel like that is what Rekkles is doing now. He is being a decent AD carry, a good AD carry, playing the games as he should, but the other members around him are having a fantastic series, Bwipo in particular. Now, for how big of a question mark this guy was coming in for SOAS, I have not noticed the difference. He has been doing exactly what the team needs him to do.
Yep, I feel that he has been filling his role very nicely. I love his aggression. The fact that he almost gets a solo kill onto Cabochard is exactly how you want to be coming into a semi-final. And even though he's had limited stage experience, it feels like this man is playing without nerves, without pressure, and he's looking to take Fnatic to the finals.
Great stuff from Fnatic so far, and they are up 2-0 at the brink of match point and at the brink of forcing that final versus G2. I know you had them as a 3-0 prediction, but I gotta know, do you see Vitality coming back at all? Is there a chance in hell that Fnatic doesn't close this out?
If they can get themselves a winning mid and a winning bot matchup, there is a chance that Vitality take it, but my expectations are Fnatic lock in finals now.
Ooh, looks damning for Vitality. We need to see them try something. Let's see what they come up with. Quickshot, take it away.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. Yes, we need to see what Vitality can do. Their backs are against the wall. Now, important to note, coming into this game, Fnatic had side selection, and they picked blue side. A little bit against the trend that we've been seeing.
I mean, they got first pick Swain the last one, so I guess Youngbuck and Dylan Falco were like, yep, job's done in that one. We figured it all out. I think the goal for Vitality is to get a fourth ban in there and ban the Ezreal as well. What is he going to play?
Add another AD carry ban? I mean, it's the opposite of what your advice was at the end of game 3. What opinion has changed in the break?
I mean, if you're going this far towards AD carry bans, you might as well go all the way.
Okay, force
Five
him onto...
bans on AD
We
carries?
saw Quinn hover. Maybe Quinn's where you go. But by the way, keep a close eye on the players' faces and emotions right now. When Fnatic took back to the stage, smiles, laughter, cheers. On the other side, it is deadly serious.
So, Vitality can still ban Xayah, Tristana, and then just ban Swain instead of Jhin with the last one. There's no way Rekkles is gonna be the main reason Fnatic wins by playing Jhin over something like a Swain. So that should be the adaptation for Vitality, unless they really feel confident, again, they can play around the Swain. Like they had a plan beforehand, they're doing the exact same thing again. So we have to assume, and I talked to Splice after their game yesterday, where they also gave away Swain multiple times and said, look, in scrims, it can make sense, you can win against it. Vitality clearly gonna say the exact same thing. Listen, we can beat this in scrims, we don't have to ban it on stage, we know they're gonna first pick it, and we get Camille, Tahm, Kench, and they're clearly very happy with it.
Oh, we just go again? This is so far 100% the same as our previous pick ban.
And then it was Taliyah.
Correct,
coming in,
Taliyah.
so
Followed by Zoe, Trundle, Varus, and Olaf in the bans. I love seeing the GG re.
let's remember that Vitality did get some early kills last game. There is, again, a chance on their side that they feel like they could actually, you know, if they just executed better,
Oh, yes.
they could beat this draft because they're not afraid of the Swain mid lane if Taliyah can roam against it. Two big plays happened that swung it in Fnatic's favor last game. Hylissang went mid, jumped a minion that randomly chased Jiizuké, secured 2 kills for Fnatic, and that was a big thing early on. And then the big play where the smite from Broxah knocks down Jiizuké from his Taliyah wall, and they kill multiple members bot lane with the Swain TP. And those 2 plays swung it back in Fnatic's favor. So if you are Vitality, they're probably saying backstage, guys, we can avoid those 2 things from happening, and then we can snowball with this draft.
Agreed, they had a 1,000 gold lead at that point before some of those plays happened, Deficio. And I'm really glad you bring up the Hylissang play because he was very aggro. He jumped in at every opportunity and found many of them. And of course, as we've hit phase 2, now we've seen some pivots. Siva, Varus, GP, Zoe, near instalock on the Olaf. Vitality said we'll follow the same principles and cause of the previous game with some small changes.
So we had Trundle in the first game, then we had Skarner, now we have Olaf. So we go more and more towards the very aggressive ganking side for Gilius. They can be very active early with Olaf. He can really try and get top and mid going. The Sivir being removed is important. It was used by Minitroupax to secure 2 early turrets for Vitality. Not gonna be the case here. We get that Trundle answer to Olaf, where again, the 1v1 is where Trundle is very strong. But Olaf can snowball lanes a little bit more effective, I feel like, with more perma ganks. And he is a faster clear in the jungle as well. So this is on Gilius to get the upper hand in the jungle matchup and get these solo laners going.
All right, Gilius, let's see what you can do. I believe this is the first Olaf all split as well. Looking down his stats, see what performance he can have. When he played that Trundle last week, he got the early ganks, he got the early plays. And of course, to round up Fnatic's team composition, it is another traditional tank, Cho'Gath up in the top lane, assuming Caps is going to get that Swain mid, and then Vitality have to lock in their AD carry now.
Let's see if it's going to be early game or late game. It's going to be a 1-item spike AD carry here for Minitroupax, but not necessarily the one you play around, and that fits the composition of Vitality in that regard when it comes to the early game plan. Now, Fnatic, on their side, it is insane 5-man team fight. It is group as often as possible, and you cannot kill Trundle and Swain doing their ultis. It is so difficult for Vitality to do. And then there's a giant Cho'Gath as well.
Yes.
So you have this Fnatic draft with insane tankiness and enough damage during the ultis being used to actually burn down 1 or 2 members on Vitality, because there's a lot of squishy champions on their side. And this means it's early snowball for Team Vitality. It's apply pressure with Taliyah ulti, Tahm Kench ulti in multiple lanes. And for Fnatic, it's group 5-man, walk to a Baron and say, come fight us. Or we grab the Baron with Cho'Gath.
There is no room for error on the Vitality side. Deficio, you've just broken down the strengths of Fnatic's comps, how they can play later into the game, the benefits of teamfight. For Vitality, there is no later games if they fall apart here. Down 0-2 in the series. Yes, they will play in Copenhagen. Yes, they will play on that stage, but they will not be in finals if they do not keep this series alive. They need to reverse sweep. It is a monumental task, but it has to start here.
And as much as I love watching Fnatic play some great League of Legends, then I still want more games in this series. So Vitality got red side again because Fnatic picked blue.
Yes.
It's their preferred side. They go with almost the identical draft from last time, except new jungler in Olaf and a different AD carry from Minitroupax. Mainly the jungle is important here. Gilius, active early game, Hermit ganks. I want to see these solo laners get ahead.
Let's see whether they can do it. Gilius has done in the past. He's shown he has the ability to get his team advantages. And the sun is setting on Summoner's Rift if you are a Vitality fan. But will it be celebration or disappointment? The rookie class of the split came in, surprised a lot of people with how good they were, and then surprised the same group of people with their mid to late split struggles.
I think just Vitality proved what's so fantastic about Europe and the EU LCS. The fact that when we lose a bunch of names, we get a new group of rookies who can instantly show up big time on stage, who can actually give us great games, who can fight for the top spots. They were #1 during the first half of the regular season with all these new players, and of course the two veterans in Gilius and Cabochard on their lineup. So it's always nice to see the classic tradition continue each split for Europe.
I mean, we kept saying it, the most exciting set of rookies since Misfits is one that we said for a while. But what will happen next? No level 1 shenanigans from Fnatic this time.
Actually cost them last time, so they decided not to do it, seeing as they lost a lot in the bottom lane, but of course they did set Gilius a bit behind, so could have looked for it, but decided not to opt into it. So Gilius gets a good start. Broxah will be with his top laner.
There we go.
On top side. I was about to say he's solo starting it, but I did see the Cho'Gath waddle his way towards
just a little bit of help from Bwipo.
Might have been just a Q.
Oh,
he didn't actually skill anything, so he grabbed E for himself in the lane on Cho'Gath. Tradition. And Cabochard, last game, did get an early gang and secured an early kill for himself after he almost died level 1 in the trade. And they did try and play around him a lot, but they got countered by the double TPs from Fnatic. Let's see if they can get Camille far enough ahead in this game that Cabochard can take over.
Of course, that's going to be the goal. And, you know, talking about let's see Deficio, as has become customary at the beginning of every game, just want to remind everybody, check out Rekkles' POV stream, twitch.tv/RiotGames2. You can see exactly how he plays, how he navigates. Just reminding everybody, it's a beta test as well. We are looking for feedback from our producers on Twitter. And if you go check out the Reddit thread, leave your comments what you think.
And it's so awesome we're doing it. I just feel slightly bad for everyone watching that it's Ezreal every game. And it's just sitting and shooting minions with Q. And it's like, yeah, guys, this is how you farm on Ezreal.
Oh, man, I didn't think about it. At least Game 2 POV stream is probably going to be very exciting thanks to the early laning phase and the fact that Minitroupax and Jactroll were in their faces shoving the whole time.
And then all the action happened away from Rekkles after that.
It did, but I'm sure he was looking at it, right?
Hopefully. This game might be different. We will see what happens. I'm still expecting Broxah to try and focus his attention around topside to protect both Bwipo and, of course, Caps.
Yeah. And, of course, talking about Caps, he's on that Swain. Again, 2 games in a row. Manages to get the insta-lock.
And let's talk about Swain.
Okay.
Because, again, there's this whole thing going on about, you know, a team's dumb, why do they keep leaving it open?
Hashtag ban Swain was trending yesterday.
Exactly. We saw, from the last quarterfinal, we've seen it turn banned in a lot of other regions, wins 15 games in a row in the EU LCS. But what teams are trying to do against it is saying, we can beat Swain before he gets 2 items and he can team fight. Because Swain actually typically falls a bit behind in CS in his lanes. He just dominate from the get-go. Let's see what happens here. That's gonna be a flash force.
Oh, down to 100 HP. Smite for some HP. Broxah flashes over the wall. There's a chase from Gilius. Gilius manages to get the undertow. Needs one more. Somebody heal comes out. Now Gilius is in trouble. Not gonna be a follow-up from Fnatic, and the screams in Berlin as Fnatic almost concede first blood.
We wanted aggressive Gilius. We got it right there, flashing to try and get the kill. He's still mounted Drake. He's fairly low after a little exchange, but we'll of course make him smack a little bit harder. I think Broxah's gonna stay around. He's gonna try and force Gilius away. So no Drake should be taken this early on, but back to the Swain one. Vitality is saying we can push in the Swain and we can roam away from him. We can get far enough ahead in this game that Swain won't be that strong team fighting force that makes us lose. That's why they leave it open again. That's why they feel like they have answers to it. Because as I said before here, Swain typically doesn't just, especially in the mid lane, destroy everything. He needs time. 2 items is the big power spike where he becomes that absolute insane monster in team fights.
Timing windows then. That's what Vitality need to do with their team composition. But we have a tweet on screen from
what is he trying to spell here?
To Yankos. Be something and can I buy a consonant?
Okay.
Can you give me a consonant?
I will give you an A.
Oh, nice. That's a vowel, not a consonant. But,
Oh,
but
sorry,
I'll keep up.
sorry.
I'll keep up, right?
That was bad.
Sorry. Either way.
I thought you wanted the joke to be we was gonna, you know, get A and then
I
get
know,
the other
fine.
one wrong.
It's an
fine.
English video game show. I don't expect a Danish national.
I think we have it. We have it.
Either way, look, 15-game winning streak. We've talked a lot about the Swain.
Okay,
And Deficio,
yeah,
you
see, I
just
got an A.
explained.
Thank you. I got my A.
You just explained how Fnatic can win that game, but for Vitality, it is the early game. It is the mid game where Olaf, Camille, Taliyah, Kog'Maw can find opportunities thanks to how much earlier they become online.
Well, see if they can do something now. Jiizuké hit level 6, Trevor. I say you want to get Cabochard going. I think Vitality agrees, which is why they draft this way. Now we're going top lane, 3 versus 1.
All right, we're going to judge the execution here. Weaver's Wall blocks off Bwipo, actually locks out Cabochard as well. Good damage from that threaded volley, and Gilius, oh man, has decided not to go in. He's still just waiting in the wings.
That was...
No Ragnarok available, and Jiizuké maybe feeling the pressure there a little.
That execution was as bad as my comment just before here when we had that little tweet from Jankos. You do not get any points for that one, and that was your first big cooldown used, and you had flash used by Cabochard defensively because Gilius didn't even get in there in time. Let's see what happens one more time. Set up the play here. The Cho'Gath is close enough to the turret to try and step back. Cabochard does not early ult to try and keep him away from the turret. Wall comes in, he can flash over it, follow up, and Gilius doesn't feel like he can actually enter the fight. And suddenly, we are now gank.
Yeah, we are indeed. Bwipo decides to continue pushing forward for some reason. Will get shut down. So despite Vitality messing that one up, Bwipo overextends and gets taken out.
That was the plan from Vitality. Get his flash, then he's gonna overextend after, and Gilius can show up and get the first blood for his team. So they get something top. Try and get more with the blue buff, but it might be taking time bot lane as well.
All right, some good damage now into Hylissang. Ignite is burning away. No summoner heal. It's on cooldown from Rekkles. Hylissang survives with his life. Crucially, Vitality get the early advantage. It's an assist for Cabo and the kill win to Gilius.
Minitroupax did not want to flash for the last hit, maybe not 100% knowing if heal was ready from Rekkles or not. Decide to keep the flash. Instead, it is just forcing the Braum back to base. Jiizuké is back mid. First roam top side was not a giant success for him, but they of course managed to then re-gank it after and get a kill.
Look at the CS differences there, Deficio. A wave behind for Caps that'll extend.
That's what happens when you leave the lane.
Exactly. On the flip side, the lane that he did go to help a little bit was Cabochard. And that means Cabo's got the assist and a little further ahead. It's only a minor gold advantage for now, but it is somewhat what Vitality needs to do with this composition.
And that is a funny difference between mid lane and top lane Swain, because top lane we see him actually bully out a lot of matchups and get ahead. Mid lane we just see a lot of mages being able to go even or slightly ahead against him. So in this case here, Caps is very happy. He sits mid, he farms, his TP is going to be ready in about a minute's time, and then he can actually just save that and match the next roam from Vitality, because the first one in this game here, granting them 1 kill eventually. If the second one is not successful and they end up losing a bunch of kills on it, it just feels like last game all over again. So Vitality just needs to execute on the next big ulti from this Taliyah, and Caps just needs to save TP to try and match.
Save TP to match. It's not available yet. Very soon to come off cooldown.
Should match the ulti in a way.
Got it. Weaver's Wall slowly ticking down, and Cabochard, he's also TP is his TP is also on cooldown. He used that back to lane. Got himself the Tiamat for now. And both teams continue just to scale, get those items. Cap sitting on top of this control ward. You can see the vision for Fnatic lingering towards the bottom half of the map, where Vitality towards the top, 2 control wards just north of Jiizuké. As now Gilius is going to come in for a little bit of help. Demonic Ascension available for Caps, but he decides not to pull the trigger.
Ganking mid is hard. It's very easy for Caps to just sit near his turret. Now we get that second player on top side, but look at this. Cho'Gath is like, kind of
Has he got away though? That's the question, because Gilius has got Ragnarok available.
But now we can get this match. Caps can just go bot lane.
That's going to lock in Bwipo. Okay, Rupture comes down. Feral Scream buys some time. Bwipo's going low, and the wall's not going to be enough. Gilius gets the second of the game, and Broxah's going mid lane instead to help push the tower.
Okay, Fnatic realized they couldn't really go bot lane and tower dive due to the Tahm Kench on the side of Vitality, but I still think they can at least force them away to trade turrets, and now they're actually moving down. So a little bit of split calls from Fnatic.
Yeah.
One is push mid, another one is push bot lane. They're on their way here with Broxah. Vitality, however, gets the second kill top side, and they get this turret. So better start than last game in terms of gold difference.
Significantly. Tower first blood, actual first blood. Secondary kill as well, and Vitality they've got the earlier game composition, I think, which is fair to say, but they're utilizing it well. Up 1,500 gold, and the man, the leader, the caller, Gilius, the recipient of both kills, I think that is instrumentally important because he has to lead his team to pick up this win and start clawing back victories in this best of 5.
Getting the Rift Herald also very big here for Vitality. Needs to keep snowballing against these outer turrets, take them down, open up the map so you can utilize the Tahm, Kench, and the Taliyah like they tried to do last game, of course. Caps still sitting with TP, didn't want to use it defensively to top side and try and save his top laner. Ended up just moving towards bottom side after a while, and they did secure bot lane turret, and Caps walked back mid to get more CS.
It's important to note the item spikes coming in. And you have to build that Rage Blade. It always kind of sucks picking up a blasting wand as an AD carry.
Slightly better from this game, but still
just a little, right?
Never feels great.
But once it's picked up, and you're going to see Jiizuké finishing off his first item and potentially Cabochard as well, that's going to be a big sort of go button available to Vitality.
And Cap doing what he did last game. Second TP also used back to lane to just continue farming as much as possible in it, giving now a small global advantage for Vitality that they have to use. I'm just waiting for next ulti for this Taliyah here. Cabochard, if he continues to sit top, the goal is to kill the Cho'Gath again.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's no point keeping him top lane where there's no tier 1 turret. Because all the objectives in the river have been killed. It's going to be a while before anything is there to be fought over. So Cabochard technically could swap around and continue to pressure another lane to try and set up another play. For now, he's staying top.
Well, looking at the other lanes, Broxah was lingering down in the bottom lane, placed a couple of wards in the river. Maybe going to set something up, but into double flashes as well as Tahm Kench is very difficult. Kills the control ward and just pushes this wave deeper.
But this is a fight Vitality could take bot side, because they have TP from Cabochard and ulti from Jiizuké, but once again, they're looking to just kill Bwipo every time.
All right, flash is available to him. He's going to use that one already, so literally nothing used but pressure. But Rekkles and Hylissang, they're going to get some tower damage in the bottom lane.
This is still risky.
They're going for a tower dive. Glacial Fissure comes down. Defensive flash away from Jactroll. Now Minitroupax continues to run for his life. Jactroll is down, but at what cost? Hylissang and Rekkles are running for their lives as the Weaver's wall is pulled ever so slightly short. Now Jiizuké's caught out, pulled into the wall. Cleanse already used, forced to flash to safety, and Vitality, they lose one.
Fnatic push up here. They know they can TP in with the top laner, and Caps could roam. But still, I felt like much earlier here, if Vitality had not spent time trying to kill the Fnatic top laner again, they could have responded earlier bot lane for a big, big play with Taliyah, with Camille, get numbers advantage on their side, and try and get more than just a summoner spell. But instead, because that didn't happen, Fnatic get the chance to push all the way in. They have time to respond with TP as well, and they're playing 3v2. Despite it being against the globals on the side of Vitality, they come in too late to actually save Jactroll.
And how different is that coordination on the dive, landing the spells, Hylissang leading the way again. His Braum has been phenomenal in these last 2 games.
It's the same thing where you just stop Vitality from further snowballing. Okay, just recall in time.
Oh, I clenched.
Good mechanics right there, Trevor.
But yes, Hylissang leading the charge, Fnatic being on the same page.
Yes.
They are not allowing Vitality an opportunity to breathe when an opportunity is presented.
And Vitality are not looking for the big plays, they were looking for the small wins by going top lane again. And I think now, they lost the ulti from Taliyah, they lost the TP from Camille because he used him defensively.
Got it.
And didn't return anything. I mean, you can look at the play before. If they do kill the Cho'Gath, they have Rift Herald to try and get a top lane turret.
Yeah.
They can get a bit more for themselves. But there was a chance of a big play bottom side that they didn't go for.
Well, they do swap Cabo eventually. He takes the bottom outer turret. It will be at the cost. The mid outer turret, there's no one close enough really to defend. Hylissang once again dashes forward, gets a tag of the Winter's Bite, but nothing further.
And we get that same thing where Caps just controls mid all the time, and he just keeps pushing it. So whenever Vitality do not play mid, Caps gets to the turret. Now he gets, you know, a bit of help from his team, and they secure turret. They even get the Rift Herald because he was almost running out from Gilius, and it's just coming in the mid lane.
Okay, so Herald was summoned. Jactroll used the Abyssal Voyage to bring Minitroupax to the mid lane, and Cabo walks his way up. Flash is available for him, so is the Baby Cage. And that little boop, not going to do a lot of damage thanks to the Herald being chunked down very, very low. We're getting to 15 minutes on the clock. And Vitality, they have no lifelines. They cannot call a friend. They cannot use a 50-50 because they have no more games to play with. It is do or die Third place waiting for them is Splice if they get knocked out now.
All right, so let's look at what they have. Cabochard almost completing his Trinity Force, but already got the Sheen, which is already a big DPS increase for him. There's no flash down in this bottom lane here. Ulti is available. Jiizuké can join, so there's a chance Vitality can secure a kill on bottom side and try and get a tier 2 turret. They still got 5 minutes before Baron even spawns, which is one of the ways for Fnatic to force grouping. So Fnatic should be aware of this.
And of course, Bwipo very far behind. We'll get to that in a moment as Caps full stacks on that passive. There's Demonic Ascension available to him, but the thing is, can he get through the Grey Health and the Devour? Doesn't fancy his chances now. Just quickly looking at the CS differences between Cabo and Bwipo because of how the 15 minutes have played out. It's around 30 CS, it's around 1,300 gold. There's a very, very large amount as Caps not going to manage to interrupt Minitroupax's recall, and the tension continues to build as Vitality are unable to find an opening or force Fnatic's hand in a play.
Yeah, we're just looking for Jiizuké's next ult. He can push mid against Ezreal. You can try and then use ult aggressively to either side, because you can actually play around Minitroupax now.
Yeah.
On one item, he is fairly strong, but the problem for him is he's against that Klepto AD carry. 2 items on Ezreal. Now, if there is a fight breaking out, Rekkles could do a lot in it. He's not going to be weaker than the enemy AD carry. And that's why it just feels like it's a Cabochard lane we're going to see the play in at the moment. Got to push up mid. As we see first, Fnatic is moving.
Keep a close eye on Hylissang, because every time he has flash available and enemies to target, he jumps all in.
And now we know that Vitality want to control bottom side with Cabochard. Drake is alive. That means Fnatic can go top, secure a turret on their side, and make sure to keep the gold fairly even.
Deficio, as we're getting closer to the mid game now, the map is becoming more and more open. And Undertow will find Bwipo. Hextech ultimatum's available here. Manages to lock Bwipo in place. He will get killed before a teleport can even finish. But what can Caps do? 1v2. Full stack on the ultimate. Here comes the Weaver's Wall. Very good Undertow into the Rekkles swing from Gilius. Now Caps throws down the ultimate. The Ascension goes up, buying some time with the stopwatch. That will keep him alive a few seconds longer. And it's Broxah that shuts down Gilius. Now it's getting messy for Vitality. They're running for their lives. Jactroll has come in with the Abyssal Voyage, and Broxah gonna look to put that Pillar of Ice down. Gets knocked away. Jiizuké realizing the battle on 2 fronts. Vitality ends up trading 1 for 1.
Just like last game, we see Caps trying to respond with the TP on the bottom side, but Vitality did get the first kill for themselves and knew they could have Jiizuké joining as well. Wanted more for themselves, but a good stopwatch being used, and sadly for Gilius, he thought he could flash him for the last hit before the stopwatch, and then he ends up just looking a little bit foolish when the Swain stands next to him and just kills him. Actually, Jiizuké is staying bottom lane.
Flash and cleanse available. Where's the damage to come from? So far, it's Broxah and Bwipo who are the closest. All of the CC
is alone,
provided by Hylissang. All right, 1v3, Jiizuké. Rookie of the split. Let's see what your blue suede shoes can do. Not a lot, because there's so much CC. A little bit unfortunate, sticking around just too long. Most of Vitality, they were nowhere near.
So the play from before here, we keep talking about make a play around Cabochard, get him further ahead. They actually do manage to secure it. I like the ult here to make sure it doesn't get knocked up on the Camille, and then suddenly, bam, there's a kill. Caps comes in just like last game, wants to respond, wants to defend, but Jiizuké can join, and if Vitality were able to do more here, let's see what happens live.
All right, Vitality were trying to push up in the top lane. Hylissang flash ulted, but will not be able to pick up more. I'm looking at Summoner Spell cost on the Vitality side. Only heal from Minitroupax.
Fnatic again, stay even in terms of kills. Slightly ahead now, if we actually look at the turrets on their side, and this is the draft that just wants to get to 2 to 3 items, wants to group as 5 around the Baron, and force Vitality into a bad team fight. So they've successfully stalled the game once again, and the last 2 ultis from Jiizuké have been used to try and save his teammates, more than him making a very aggressive, proactive play on his side. And it's meant that he's not been able to pick up a lot. He's just sitting with 1 assist in this game.
Despite the huge farm advantage on the side of Vitality's carry in the top lane, as you mentioned, Jiizuké unable to do more, unable to get Cabochard knocking over even more towers. And the pressure's still on them, right? Deficio's 20 minutes in. Baron is going to become ever more problematic. And for Vitality, the number of options available to them, it feels like they're going to get smaller the later this game goes.
Yeah, exactly. It gets harder and harder to play split push the further you into the game, because a lot of teams can just group and force a team fight around either big objective, Elder Drake, Baron. and that always stops your split push, or you just get full mid control before the Camille can move all the way from the river to an inhib, because it's a pretty long route she has to walk. Gilius is trying to force something.
All right, manages to connect with at least one Q. Forced to Ragnarok away. There's a Devour available if needed, and it is. Jactroll now splits him back out. Such a good poke from Caps. Gilius just gets run down. As you know, the Empire Rekkles isn't done yet. Red buff is on. Manages to arc and shift over the wall. Okay, no Gilius, no smite. Do they risk the Baron? Teleport is available for Cabochard. For Vitality, they have to play around this Baron without Gilius and smite.
Vitality didn't need to stop Fnatic here. They need some kills. They need to get ahead in this game.
The Weaver's wall has been interrupted, and so has the Baron attempt. Baron continues to help out Vitality, chunking down the Fnatic members. The fight is on two fronts, and Jiizuké is playing the flanks beautifully. He's threading that volley forwards and backwards. Hylissang not going to get caught by the tongue lash, and Cabo's coming in from the backside. He's got the baby cage, locks in Hylissang and takes him down. Vitality get the kill, and Fnatic are now routed, running for their lives. Fnatic don't lose more, but crucially, Vitality get the reply kill.
Can Vitality go Baron here? They're still very healthy. Gilius is on his way. Hylissang is dead for 15 seconds. Caps has gone back to base without teleport.
It was a 50% Baron control for Vitality. There's a feast available for Bwipo if he wants to challenge
give it up.
The call is back away. The call is give it up. And the calls from Vitality keep their hopes at finals alive.
So big here for Vitality. Looked lost almost when he gave up another kill. Gilius died, but by Fnatic starting Baron, they get walled in initially, and they can't get away very quickly, so they take a bunch of damage from the Baron itself, and now it's just good kiting around from Jiizuké especially. Minitroupax as well gets a bit of damage on them, and eventually the rest of Vitality can join and pick off. It's just Hylissang, but that's enough because you dealt so much poke damage to the rest of Fnatic. It looked like Vitality just couldn't snowball enough.
Yep.
They couldn't get the advantage, but they just got a Baron.
Oh, look at that. If ever there was a moment to carry your team, Jiizuké just found it.
I think all of Vitality there deserve credit in terms of how they actually did dance around. Didn't go for the all-in fight, bought enough time, landed enough poke to then run for Baron after this. And Fnatic, they'll be mad at themselves because they have the scaling, they have the team fighting comp. I think going for the Baron made sense to try and force a team fight 4v5 or feast it.
Yes.
But then when it actually backfires, suddenly you're like, man, we didn't have to do that. We could have waited 5-6 more minutes.
Deficio, the room is quiet here in Berlin as Fnatic are under pressure. Vitality picked up, I believe, 5 Barons during their quarterfinals, and their Baron power plays were very good. 6,000, 6,000, 5,900. The average is around plus 3,500 gold, and only one of them was below the average. Will equate how effective the Baron power play is here today, but they're setting themselves up for a potential kill, for a potential tower, and Caps is the focus. Demonic Ascension will buy a lot of time in Hourglass, and Gilius is forced to run away, but he gets chunked down instantly after. Jiizuké is the man that secures the final kill. In goes Cabochard once again. That's a second for Vitality. They are not done. They don't care about Fnatic's legacy, and they are pushing into the base. Cabochard sits on the wall, threatening Rekkles, and Vitality are pushing into the base.
Oh, this is so big for Vitality. They get more kills. They're gonna get an inhib as well for themselves. Look at this carry suddenly on Minitroupax's side. He's 2 items. Jiizuké was sitting on 1 assist before this. Nothing else for himself. Oh,
very close. The Devour buys some time. Bwipo fancies himself a shot as the Feral Scream will prevent anything further. Super minions in the top lane. There's still a minute of Baron buff remaining. And Vitality have just bought themselves a lifeline. Fnatic want to shut them down. Caps coming in from the sideline, but Bwipo's been turned! Bwipo's been killed! Minitroupax has taken him down. That's his first kill of the game on the Kog'Maw. Now the focus is on Cabochard. He's going to get shut down by Caps, and it's Ezreal, Rekkles, that takes him out. 2 victims for 1 apiece as Vitality get out, but crucially the map is in their favor.
24 minutes in, they got that top lane inhib now. Don't have to worry about Fnatic grouping on another Baron and forcing a team fight. They can actually set up the map once again on their side. And as I said before here, crucial kills on Jiizuké. 2 full items now, a lot of gold as well sitting ready for him to spend when he goes back. And it all starts with him using what we've seen a lot of times from him. Wall off members when they're trying to siege on this turret, and then just focus the first guy. Caps thinks he can buy enough time with the Hourglass but a lot of return damage comes in, and now they know, okay, we can go for more. The carries are left untouched, and Vitality wins a crucial fight. And you just showed the gold leads they get when they pick up Baron.
They are good at Baron.
This is going to be another one where they're going to get between 5,000 and 6,000 gold from this Baron power play.
The most important Baron of Vitality splits. Get rid of all the memes, they don't matter anymore. Because Vitality are playing for their lives. This was obviously the cleanup kill on Bwipo as they were trying to escape. It ends up being a 1-for-1, Cabo goes down.
Yeah, sorry Cabo, but I think the support will value the AD carry above you in this case. And it will be also another Drake going down. This one will be the first one for Vitality in the game, but as we said before here, no way for Fnatic at the moment to force an easy fight around a big objective. So it is on Vitality to set up the map once again. Use Cabochard very, very strong with that Hydra completed on his side.
And Deficio, you talk about the Hydra, but 2-3 item spikes across the board for Vitality. Fnatic playing a little bit of catch-up, of course. Bwipo, his CS deficit continues to grow. And we talked about how Vitality could run out of options. With Super's top, they have way more options now.
Yeah, and Jactroll can go bot lane and place the ban of command on a minion there, and suddenly it's a lot harder for a Cho'Gath to actually kill the minion. Only 4K1.
Yeah, a lot of the outer towers had already died.
It's true.
It's still above average.
I try to be dramatic with the 5,000 to 6,000.
You're allowed to be.
No one cares about the actual number.
I do. It's a stat. It's important to me. But either way, it's important because that's the gold lead that Vitality have accrued. It's 26 minutes in, and they're sieging 2 lanes. Look at the Supers in the top lane being defended by Fnatic, while Vitality are pushing multiple other lanes, and now the execution is what we evaluate. How well do they push without Baron, knowing that they've got this team composition that has to play the map?
And I gotta say, it's an interesting choice that Rekkles went for QSS in this game. I don't actually feel like there's a lot he's gonna use it against on the side of Vitality, and most of the fights he should be able to stay fairly safe. If Cabochard is onto him, then that's already an issue for Fnatic.
Fisher comes down from Hylissang again. He's very trigger happy today. Jactroll devours Jiizuké over the wall, and despite the tower not going down, Vitality secured the 6th tower in the bottom lane.
Geez, if that had fit into the Baron power play.
Yep, it would have got you a 5K, dude.
Thought they were gonna get the bot lane turret earlier.
Not this time around. All right, so this resets the game entirely. It's a minute until the next Baron, and Vitality, Deficio,
They're in control now.
have had difficulty setting up for safe Barons in the past.
It is true. Vitality normally will do well if they can force a fight just when Baron is alive, win the initial fight, and then go in and secure the free Baron, because they are much better at fighting than the slow steps necessary to properly set up vision, minion waves, and then start the Baron itself.
Right.
And another problem, it's been denying the enemy jungler from getting into the pit. That's how all these Gilius smite things started, was that junglers always got into the pit and had to then, or had a chance to contest for the Baron. Vitality normally can try and deny that. Not been the case in a lot of the games. And this one here, I think if they do start the Baron, they should be ready to just turn instantly. Cabochard's ult will be enough to just single out one target and say, this is the guy we're killing.
Yes.
He cannot get away, focus him down. The only one who can survive for a bit is gonna be the Swain with this Hourglass. This Cho'Gath in itself is only on 2 items. He's not that tanky compared to the damage Minitroupax can deal. Like, his build is perfect for burning down these tanks.
I mean, there's 4 damage dealers on the side of Vitality. They will burn through Cho'Gath's hit points.
And that's so huge with them now getting ahead in items, because as we talked about earlier, like when they have a lot of squishy players, it gets difficult if you're on even setting going into a fight, because you die so quickly. But it might not be the case here. Look at bot lane. Jiizuké's down here with a Cabochard.
Yeah, Cabochard doesn't even need help. He's already chunked Bwipo down. 1,200 hit points. That's going to force the flash. While that was going on, that's because Minitroupax was under pressure in the mid lane. Fnatic, they're going to start off the Baron. There's no real support here. Gilius has a flash and smite available.
Oh, can he do it?
Is the inhibitor.
They're gonna try and finish it.
1,000 HP. The focus is Baron for Fnatic. Gilius gonna look to flash over the pit. He's in. Who's gonna win the smite fight? The depths are not there yet. Bwipo's gonna go down. Gilius gets the kill. The Baron
Gilius gets it.
Gilius wins the Baron smite fight as well as the ensuing fight. Minitroupax is trying to get some damage onto Hylissang. Not gonna get through the Unbreakable yet. Finally burns him down. Broxah forced to hop over the wall. The Mystic shots are not there. But look at the base.
Jiizuké's still trying. He got a banner minion with him. They've been spending so much time
They've
down
done
here.
it! They've done it! Vitality are onto the Nexus!
You're right,
They
they've
haven't
killed the
finished
Nexus
it yet.
turrets. They've done it, Trevor. They killed the Nexus turrets. And Gilius won the battle for the Baron. No more memes.
No.
This time, Gilius gets the Baron itself.
Oh my word, 30 minutes in. The split call, and it feels like Vitality got everything. They got supers, they got the Baron, they got some kills. It doesn't matter that people died.
All right, Trevor. Vitality have now got 2 Barons in this game. They didn't have to set up any of them. They had to fight to get them. That's the Vitality style. That's how they want to play the game, and it's been successful here. Fnatic have tried also to force down quick Barons, and it's backfired both times. Not only did they lose the Baron, they lost both Nexus turrets and the bot lane inhib from before here. Let's see the whole thing down. If you look at the minimap, you see bot lane 2 players, Taliyah and the Camille. So Fnatic's call is, we gotta rush it, feast everything, and then we gotta go back with the Baron recall to try and stop this push from happening. But it goes down so slow, and now it's just chaos everywhere.
Chaos.
The Cho'Gath dies before he can feast. Gilius takes it against Broxah, smacks it with the axes and the smite, and suddenly it's now Vitality winning everything.
I cannot believe the damage Minitroupax was putting down onto Bwipo right at the start of the fight, just melting through him like butter, and that gives Vitality the 9,000 gold lead. More supers in the bottom lane, and it just seems like they've come alive in this third and what was potentially final game of the series.
And at 20 minutes, if you pause the game, it looked like Fnatic were in full control. They had successfully stopped the early snowball. They were getting a bunch of kills as well. They were ready to play these late game team fights on their side, but that early Baron they go for backfired, and that's what actually set Vitality so far ahead in this game, and it is so important for this team. Down 2-0.
Yes.
If they can win this, huge momentum, ton of confidence on their side, knowing they can actually still beat Fnatic, and then we might go suddenly for a lot more games.
Man, look at that. Minitroupax 2-3 shots. Broxah chunks him down, looking at the mini-map. Cabochard jumps forward onto Caps. Hourglass is available to him. And here comes Jiizuké. Very good heal. Gonna keep Caps alive. It gets built into the kit. It's not like he did it on purpose. But nevertheless, Fnatic not gonna be able to defend as the middle inhibitor turret is now fallen. No towers remain. No inhibitors remain. Only the Nexus remains for Fnatic. And Vitality play this one safe and smart and back away.
2 wards have been placed in the base, so let's see if they can stop a recall.
Well, they can. Cabochard is going to be the target. He's trying to taunt them, I think. Manages to turn this one around. Here comes Jactroll. Vitality were just waiting on the side lanes. Gilius is Ragnar-rocking through the Fnatic roster, and despite the damage of Caps' Swain, despite the 15-game win streak, despite the legacy, Fnatic are going to fall for the first time in the semi-finals. Vitality turn their attention to the Nexus, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a series on our hands as Vitality strike back.
And it all comes down to the 20-minute mark around the Baron. Who cares about how your Baron setup looks if you're never the one setting up Baron itself? You're the one fighting the other team when they're trying to do it. And we saw good execution around the fights. That's what Vitality can do.
That's where their skills are.
But man, the fact that the
I got
early game was so
I got a little carried away around those Baron plays.
When Gilius got the Baron, that was a hero moment for me.
Man.
The one man who's been so heavily criticized for always losing the Baron. He gets it, and they already took down double Nexus turrets.
You couldn't script this any better. You literally could not. Vitality get a monumental victory in their life-saving game. They're still down in the series. They still have to really step up because that game was still close. That game still could have gone Fnatic's way, but the momentum and the confidence is going to help.
They beat Swain.
Whoa!
What? No
Yankos, your tweet is no longer relevant. I bought the consonant and it didn't matter.
I wanted the vowel.
15 game winning
Swapped them
streak.
around earlier, but important to note how they were like, we give that Swain again.
Yes.
We banned 3 semi-AD carries, and this time we try and play around Swain a little bit more effectively.
Right.
I know we can just look back at the early game and say, man, it still didn't really fully work for them, but they had to go for crazy outplays around the Baron. But the fact it happened, that's still huge for them.
What's also important is those outplays you talked about. That's exactly what Rekkles was talking about that he was afraid of. That's exactly what Perkz and Jankos were saying that Vitality have in them. That type of crazy, insane, opportunistic fight that Vitality just pull out the bag. That's what they did. That's how they won the game.
It's true. But if you're Fnatic now, backstage, I'm pretty sure the team is saying, okay, calm down, everyone. We had it under control. We didn't have to rush that early Baron.
Yeah.
Next time, if we have the same kind of setup, because most likely we'll have, again, Fnatic blue side and Vitality picking red side, they can play just like they did.
Yes.
And just don't have to rush anything early, because they had a great setup for late game fights. I think so. Fnatic should still be fairly calm, but Vitality, this is big, you know.
I hope they are, because I'm sure as hell not. Listen, Vitality, they fight back. They brought the series back to 1-2. For a closer look, let's take a look at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, we have got a series on our hands. Vitality, they clawed their way back into this race for the final in Copenhagen. Before this game, at the end of game 2, I asked my analyst, what do you want to see from Vitality? We had Amazing saying, I want to see a late game capable comp. We had Vedius saying they should bank on the early game. Lo and behold, Vitality did all of it. So let's start with the early game and
you can analyze your early game.
and the absolute, let's say, picking on Bwipo in the top
I feel
lane
like
was
it seems to
definitely
be a bit of
strat.
a let's bully the new guy strat. I mean, they just constantly look for opportunities top. Now, this was after the first gank that they tried top. Bwipo had already lost his summoner spells, and this was arguably a bit of a mistake from Bwipo. He should have had better control over the top side if he wants to push it that far.
Yeah.
But then Vitality continued the pressure. Jiizuké showing his expertise on this champion, constantly looking for roams and constantly trying to make plays on the side lane. Very similar to game 2, but this time they didn't overcommit.
So what I really like actually about Vitality's pick ban, due to them forcing bot lane on the Ezreal every time, they basically deny the enemy bot lane potential to actually snowball really, really hard in the early game because they can't abuse the matchup as much.
Yep.
And they can completely shift their attention towards top side and win the game there. And I think that's something we should probably see continuously from now on, and they will probably just continue with that pick ban. And I just have to highlight that.
Yeah, so keeping up those bans on the AD carry to neutralize the huge threat normally that Rekkles is, so we can't get into the game.
Yeah, because I actually think that's a really interesting idea, because when you look at so far how the games have been going, Amazing, you said it at the end of this game, but Vitality are steadily getting better from game to game. Game 1, it was Fnatic with just sheer early game dominance. They had the stronger draft. They knew what they're doing. Game 2, we saw better early games from Vitality, yet they over-executed. They got a little bit too eager. And then in game 3, we're kind of finding that balance. And while fundamentally the game came down to one decision, it's definitely an essence of growth from Vitality throughout this series.
I have to agree with you. This is where I think I saw the growth of Vitality in this third game. Let's take a look at the replay, because in previous games when Fnatic tried to take the wheel in the mid game, they just let him do it. In this case though, Vitality, they take the fight at the right time.
So the call here is really iffy for Fnatic. They put themselves in a spot where both the Kog'Maw and the Taliyah can actually dance around the amount of range that Fnatic has, because Fnatic's comp in itself actually doesn't have any kind of engage that is from range.
And they're in a choke point.
So they're in a choke point and they basically get surrounded all the time, and that's basically something you don't want to have happen in a comp where it's all about control, it's all about burst CC, it's all about one-shotting a target. If you're not in the cone and if you're not the one basically controlling the space, that's what happens.
So what you're saying is that when Gilius killed himself prior to this Baron, it was actually all part of a long con to say, oh no, we're gonna lose the Baron, oh no. But in actuality, they wanted Fnatic to start it, so they didn't have to be the ones to start it. That's what you're telling me right now.
He has a large head, but his brain is not that big.
Well, I wanna have you feast your eyes and your brains on this statistic right here that caught my eye in the game. The fact that when Vitality does get a Baron, their Baron plays are generally a lot above the average and through the roof. And I think that's also what we saw in this game. When they had the eventual upper hand and then had that Baron, they ran with it much like Fnatic did in the first 2 games. So I just want to point out the fact that Vitality was very decisive when they got their hands on the wheel. And also, we just have to say it again, no matter how good the moves were from Vitality, we have to give all the praise in the world to Jiizuké's Taliyah.
Rookie of the split, man. You can see why. Like, he's picked Taliyah now 3 games in a row.
Which we weren't too sure
I mean,
about,
I was a
let's be
little
honest.
skeptical about it in the 3rd game, but they banned away the Zoe. They showed that respect towards Caps, but this guy is playing phenomenally. He had a great start to the season. He continued that performance. Yes, in the middle part when the champion pool kind of got limited and he was forced onto Azir all the time, he kind of struggled to find his form, but now he's found the champion pool again. He's able to make all these plays, and he's just such a core component of this Vitality
The
roster.
Italian Stalin Amazing even said he's the best Taliyah in the world.
I mean, I may take that back. I think it's going to play from now on, but I do think that the amount of movements, like basically on Taliyah, on a champion that has literally like 1 damage spell and then another CC and basically a zoning tool, you basically have to keep up the movements 24/7. You have to evade every kind of CC that is coming at you. And he's doing that perfectly. He's basically dancing around any kind of like engage that's happening, and it's just really beautiful to see.
Fantastic to see. It means we got a match on our hands. One quick rest in peace for Vedius' 3-0 prediction.
No.
That's not going to happen. But I think for kind of the flow of the match, that is a very good sign that we see more
for the
action.
best of 5 series, you still always want the 5 games, right? Like, and expectations were for me was that Fnatic would stomp. I'm curious as to how they change things up now moving into game 4.
Let's talk about the biggest buzzword there is, momentum. Let's get in the heads of these rookies of Vitality. This will do wonders for them. First up, coming off this kind of a win going into game 4. Amazing.
Yeah, there's a ton of momentum on their side. Obviously, they should be confident now that they can actually play, like, get ahead every game against Fnatic. Obviously, they have shown it 2 games in a row now, and they should probably show it continuously. And what's more important is that Fnatic kind of seem to like have that sweat coming in, you know, where they kind of almost felt like they had to force that Nash. And I am more concerned about Fnatic's lack of like cohesion at that point than I am about Vitality's momentum.
Vedius, are you as worried about Fnatic's state of mind?
Nope. I still think that they'll just turn things around. I'm just an entire fanboy. That's the secret has come out. But I do feel that while Vitality have been improving, in my eyes, that was still a big mistake from Vitality that the rest of the players effectively compensated for. They used their individual talent to turn around a bad situation, and Fnatic should have read the situation better. But so far this series, Fnatic has felt like the better team, which is why I'm still on the Fnatic hype train.
Yeah, basically the question for me is just like, how much is the difference between Source and Bwipo actually makes some?
Now is where we're going to see
I think now it actually counts.
Yeah, that's a great point. That veteran leadership of SOAS isn't there. How will Bwipo and Fnatic relax? Yeah, they should relax and get back in the game because they are still on match point. Vitality, if they were to win, have to complete the reverse sweep. It's starting to happen. It might happen. We'll see what happens in game 4. We'll be right back.
Vitality. There's a feast available for Bwipo if he wants to give it up. The call is back away. The call is give it up.
I mean, we don't commit on that. Bring it up. I'm going on this guy. I'm out in this. One more. Can you hit me? Go. Can we end? Nice.
To Gilius, gonna look to flash over the pit. He's in. Who's gonna win the snipe fight? The deaths are not there yet. Bwipo's gonna go down. Gilius gets the kill. The Baron Gilius gets it. Gilius wins the Baron smite fight as well as the ensuing fight.
Holy shit.
Vitality turn their attention to the Nexus, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a series on our hands as Vitality strike back.